Welcome, welcome, welcome. Woo, it seems like forever, but welcome. I'll tell you what, it's Memorial Day. It's rainy outside here in Texas, Dallas. It's thundering and lightning. So we basically, it's been some challenges this evening. And I want to say happy Memorial Day, but then I thought earlier, how can you say happy Memorial Day? Sort of seems kind of a little strange, doesn't it? Well, anyway, I want to say welcome and thank you for joining me tonight. It's going to be only myself, for cool lady, and I'm just going to be going off of things that 2025. I feel like it has been maybe 10, 20 years in one little 6 months. We have a new president, we have some new laws, we have all these people going to court, we have P. Diddy in court. It's a lot of things going on, a lot of taboo topics to talk about. And so I'm just going to try to go off my mind and just kind of talk to you tonight. I see everybody logging in. I just want to say I really appreciate you. And also follow me. Roberta's a tool lady. Facebook, uh, all platforms on social media. Go to YouTube. Some of our shows. Tell me what about them. I'm growing, right? I'm growing. Because I want to know what you want to know and what you want to talk about. But tonight, like I said, I just wanted to go off of 2012, some fear factors. Here we're back in this fear thing. So that's pretty taboo. We're talking about fear. We're talking about racism. We're talking about the gym. And we got these folks over in Africa. And I want to say just a shout out to Africa because I'm really proud of you all. I'm proud of you standing up for Africa, standing up for your continent, something that has not had something that has year of exposure actually. So we're seeing that, right? We're seeing people being um when we go to talk about what is taboo, I like to first of all say law a legal celebration here in America by our government. So I thought that was a good idea. That was not, I won't say a good idea, but it made me feel good about celebrating Memorial Day. Because all this time I've been thinking, well, and I've seen people, I'm a person of color. So, we take holidays and we put a twist on it anyway. But I've seen people like during Memorial Day go to their own family's place of rest, to the funeral, to the graveyard, and put flowers and decorate it, go out and celebrate their loved ones. But actually, the rule or the law of it is, the meaning of it is to celebrate people who fought for our country, right? So that veterans. So that was kind of the gist of it. Because we do appreciate all veterans and all those that have died in war for us. We do appreciate them. But what a more that it also went to those individuals who fought for our freedom here in America during the Civil War. I mean, that meant so much more to me because I was like, oh, now it makes sense. Because that's really how it started. They would go and they would go where these people were buried, and it was an unmarked grave at first, and they discovered here they celebrate the people who died during the Civil War. So and there were people of color, slaves, and we had other people help us as well. We had Hispanics, we had Indians, the indigenous. We had all of these people help with that Civil War. So I just thought that meant a whole lot, and that made me say, you know what, Roberta, I do want to acknowledge this holiday. I'll say that. And once I figured that out, this is a really meaningful holiday because not only is it for individual people. So I just wanted to sure, that one thing that's been in my head because I was like, this is something else. This is really a meaningful holiday. So I'm hoping that you are appreciative of individuals who have fought for your whether civil or the whole united as we do celebrate it. But hopefully that you and your family are acknowledging those people. The other part is I can kind of see why people would say, you know what, you know, uh, my grandmother was pretty good because she fought for, she did this and this and this. My grandfather was pretty good, even if he didn't fight in the war, he was still pretty good. So I'm going to acknowledge him today. And why? Because you know what, you know, people always, and this is taboo. I'm gonna say it right now before I even come out my mouth with it. But a lot of people, especially in secular religion, they're praising the ancestors, and they're talking about the ancestors. So then what happened was that the people that are not in that because those are different. It's partially religion. I'll say it that way. But the truth is that if these people didn't live, we wouldn't be alive. And if these people didn't do what they did, we wouldn't be here. So it's some truth in showing appreciation. I don't know how many times you said and thought about your grandmother, your great grandmother, great grandfather. As a fact, let me tell you even another fact that's taboo, and it's really sad. And I've heard people talk about it, but they say that after you only remember your third generation. So that's say great grandmother, grandmother, and then grandmother, or mother, grandmother, great grandmother. And that's it. They say each generation only goes back 3 generations back. History more than those 3 generations. And there's a lot of things that we should hold on to because it's Sankofa. That's an African term meaning going back to what we used to do. Because some things that we used to do worked, but we have to learn what didn't work and move forward with it. But some things that we did do or they did do did work. As we're understanding now, some of our health. Someone said 5 generations. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's beating that third generation. Because I thought that third generation was sad, and then it also shows why we're so disconnected. Because we can talk as people of color, especially American people of color. I'm talking about being American because that's my experience, right? We only can go back to what people have shown us and not what is real or not is what our real lineage is. I mean, now we can because we could take DNA tests, and I did take one, and I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about that before we get off here because that was a trip too, and that sent me somewhere else I didn't want to go. But anyway, but we should be acknowledging those generations. So today is a good day to acknowledge that, and that's not worshiping them, but just acknowledging that I know grandmother, for me, my grandmother Doretha, my grandfather Henry, my grandfather James, my grandfather Willie. I know that, and my aunts, all of them, I know that they were a part of me, and they were a part of this society of ours, right? There's some things they did that, i.e., my grandfather was in World War II. So it's some things they did that added on to where we're at right now. And it's some things that they seen. And I'm from Oklahoma, so let me say that. So we even have some heritage as far as if you ever heard about the Tulsa riots. Oh, well, that's good. They have somebody said they have 6 grandparents. They are blessed. And they can get conversation with all of them. And they actually what they should do is start writing it down or recording, because now we got a time where we can record people speaking more. Of course, they had some of the recordings of the slaves, the last slaves. Boy, because it's richness to know where you came from. It's big richness, and I think that's where, as an American woman of color, because that's what I'm gonna say, because that's really what we are, because we are we're just a collage of different cultures, because and we're American. So, but as that, we have all these different collages, and and then sometimes society has taught us to be against those other collages of which we are, which that's not cool either. But we have learned that. So I'm gonna share with, since I bringing it up, I'm gonna tell you some of my DNA. I found out that, of course, 30% said West African. You probably can tell sometimes, right? Uh, the other Hispanic, that's interesting. The other Russian, that's interesting. Uh, Parisian and Irish. So, and I'm saying this to say, and I'm saying it in those ways to say that's what we are. And so if you did a DNA, and so now what I say when people are debating, like they're saying now genders are the new are also black, right? You've seen it. Genders are black too. Possibility. Do your DNA. Because that's really what has happened. Once everyone has been intercultural or intermingled here in America, especially, we're not one. And when they started talking about the color of the skin, the pigment, that's from the DNA and how it crosses over. Because of course, it crosses over. I don't know if if you've ever seen it was two couples actually in the media. It may have been more than that, but two made it to the media since we have social media, and they had twins, and it was a interracial um, marriage, a white woman and a black gentleman. No, no, wait a minute, I'm lying. It was two presumable white, it was a white couples, but they both had a black and white twin. How did that happen? Because it's just what I just said. Here in America, we've been all interchanged throughout time, that's how it crosses over like that. So that's just a little taboo, little bit of taboo for you, and so it's really crazy because we're just connected from a lot of it, because we associate with who we associate with, right? I associate as a woman of color, right? So of course I don't associate with the Irish people. I don't associate with the Russian. As a fact, I'm just gonna be funny, but I seen Training Day, and when I seen Russian on my DNA, I said, "Oh hell," because they was tough on Training Day. Them Russian boys, just saying. um, but anyway, that's why I say, we really should embrace, get to know what is our heritage, and celebrate it. Celebrate it. We got Juneteenth coming up next month, and I know this new president said we can't celebrate it. But you know what I say? He don't know. We've been celebrating it all this time. So what he talking about really ain't nothing. Just saying. We have always celebrated it from where I'm from. We never not celebrated it. We've never not celebrated it. It's always meant something to us. Wanted me to mention tonight was talking about parenting, and they wanted me to talk about co-parenting. Yeah, it's good. It's good that your company does acknowledge Juneteenth, and it's really good that anybody acknowledges it. And I'll tell you why. You know, I've heard it both ways. I've heard people say, because and right now they're talking about this woke. And I was driving through Oklahoma City, and it said, "Don't put your woke on Oklahoma City." And I'm like, woke to me, I was talking to my nephew. He graduated this year, and I'm happy about that, because both of his parents both uh, died before he could graduate from high school. One passed away when he was, what, 5, and the other one passed away 2 years ago when he was 16 from a car wreck. So he really he went on and graduated this year. But what he told me, he said, I think it's a time. This is a time, because he's telling me with class two twins, that's what class is, and they have been through a whole lot. They went through COVID. Like I said, he's went to the death with both of his parents. So he has been through a whole lot as a youth. Then, he said, but I think it's a time of truth. He said, I think people are going to see what is true now. And I really agree with him, because people are saying, well, we don't want to celebrate Juneteenth, or we don't want to have February is celebrating the Black Independence, I mean Black History Month, or whatever his I don't know any of the other ones that was took off the calendar. I only know those two because they do have something to do with my population. Just saying, but I've heard people say, well, I really don't want to do it anyway. And what I would do, I would challenge myself. Why? Why? Because the thing is, you don't celebrate your past or identify your past again. How will you identify your future? It's time for us, like my nephew just said, it was saying, it's just kind of see what is true. What is true? We're okay. We're worthy to be celebrated. And we're worthy to hear our history. And we're worthy. That's why I said I would recommend, if you got 6 generations alive, start documenting that for those generations to come. Because as you see, that's another thing that's going on. They're taking out even all the way. Yeah. So you want to do that. Start getting yourself together. Because that's how it's gonna continue. That's how your history, because that's whose history it is going to be. Your history, it's going to continue, and you're worthy to have your history. And when your children don't know, you kind of got to go back to my generation or before. For a while, we didn't know. We didn't have our history. We didn't know who we were. We were lost. We didn't have a connection. We didn't even have a connection to Africa, to be honest with you. We only had an idea of what we were told. So it's good to keep your connection. It's good to know who you are. That's power. That's real power. And to hand it to your children. Your children. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start a little bit of talking about the co-parenting, and because this is only going to be a 30 minute uh 30-minute show tonight. I really appreciate you all, and I hope you get something out of it, get a nugget here or there. Like I said, if you got all these generations and they're still hanging out and they can still tell you something, get it written down, get those pictures, get it documented, get your stuff documented. Now I'm going to talk about parenting. Um, Parenting is a hard thing to do. There is no right way, no wrong way to parent, right? There are several parenting books, but the truth is, all of that can change where you're at, right? If you're in the inner city and versus a rural community, your parenting is going to look different. In a rural community, you might be able to allow your child to walk away around liberally. But if you're in the middle, it looks different. The things that you may say, the things that you may advise your child may be different. To co-parent means that two people who no longer are together still try to parent. They still make a effort of parenting, right? I bet it sounds hard. It sounds hard to me too. And it's quite a new term, and it requires you to say much, or just not wanting their special responsibility, being selfish. They just walk all the way out the child's life. And then I know I've heard people say, okay, Roberta, but I pay child support and that's what I'm supposed to do. But child support is not time. And child support is not caring for that child. It's not giving that child the whole picture of what they need. And it's proven. Because now that child again, that child again is going off it's their imagination. How does my dad really feel about me? I didn't see him uh, when I learned how to ride the bike. I didn't see him when I learned how to tie my shoes. I didn't see him on my first day of school. How does he really feel about me? So that's when the imagination starts taking place. And that's where our imagination goes, especially when we're being parented by one parent versus two parents. And it's understandable that you may not want to be with that person. And I'm talking to the mom and the dad. But be aware that you are showing this child, you're the first teachers. Let's get that clear. You are that child's first teacher. So if you have shown this child that we can bring a child in the world, but we can't be responsible, you've shown that child some things that is pretty troubling to them. You brought me in the world, but you can't be responsible for it. So I know y'all like Miss Roberta that came out with punches tonight, but I wasn't trying to. I was trying to do this really nicely. So what I'm gonna say is it is effective. So it's affecting our young children. Again, we've came from a time before during our crack era, during the other eras we had where our men they learned it from their older uncles, from their dads, just to leave the child. So now that we are in a time again, like my nephew was saying, where now we see things and we know we need to do better to to our children. We and we need to be there for them, and this is men and women, because women have done it too, have had children and just left them for such and such to take care of, and then say, well, I know that's enough, but it really is not, because again, you've gave way to that child's imagination. Even if you send money, that child is still thinking or has their own thoughts, imagination of why that you're not there for them, because that's what they feel like. Now you might say, well, the child support checks was there every day. No, we need to do better. It's a time that we open our eyes to see what we're doing. It wasn't like that years ago, and we really need to fix it and learn how to co-parent, be responsible, communicate with each other, and have respect. I've heard my son say, treat each other as we're children of God. So treat each other like we're children of God. You just as important as I am. But being there for our baby. This month is mental health month, where we're ending it. So what I will say is check your mental health, be aware of your mental health, and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, and know when things aren't good for your mental health. Because certain things are not really good for your mental health. So I just wanted to end with that tonight. I really appreciate you stopping in. I appreciate everyone that stopped in just to check me out tonight. I appreciate you all for just checking in on Taboo Chronicles as we've filmed. I feel like it's been 2 years. I know it's been one whole year's Taboo Chronicles before we put it all on the table. So I just really appreciate that. And I just hope that you got a couple little nuggets. If, like I said, write yourself down, get your history together, because it's your history. So them generations to come, they can go farther than those third generations. They won't forget those things. those fourth, fifth, and sixth. They can keep going, just like everybody else do when they tell about their great-great-grandfathers and their great-great-grandmothers and what they used to do. We need to do some of that too, because we got grandparents that did just as great and still doing things that are great. So that's it. Love y'all. Peace. And check me out. Like, love, and follow. Further to, lady. Peace.